All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Have a good spring break? Get to rest at all? No? Okay, good. Well, we're on week 9, and I'll go and write the code up on the board so we can move on it. 668. All right. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to go over the call labs first. Then I've got a PowerPoint that's actually on remote control connectivity. Your quiz of this week's for week 8, which is wireless networking. Review questions for chapter 8 as well. The week 9 lab, we're going to be doing Ultra VNC in class. I believe before break you guys did TeamViewer, if I'm not mistaken. And so we're going to continue on with remote connectivity apps, but I wanted to talk about, this is actually due week 11, it's week 9 right now, this network call labs. Open up my other computer there. I'll leave that there. Yeah, I'll probably bring it up on the other one. Okay. Okay. So the deal on this one is you're going to call local businesses, get a list of like 20 or 30 businesses, and you're going to call and ask them for the network administrator. And the purpose for this take-home is to find out, number one, what type of backbone that folks have, what type of network that they're running, also what kind of knowledge people have that answer the phone, and then also, too, a lot of times students have gotten job leads by doing this as well. You will call healthcare facilities, insurance companies, small businesses, large businesses, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, you name it, students have called over the last 13 years. And so you can even call RBC IT department if you want to. You can utilize your IT department where you work at. And here's what you'll do when you call. You say, hello, my name is Chuck Conkle, a network student from Rock Valley College. What's your name? Generally, this is going to be the receptionist or a person that answers the phone. And you say, Cindy, been asked to call 5 top businesses and ask the makeup of their network. But before you do that, if it's Cindy, the receptionist, you might want to ask, I always tell students to ask if they could talk to the network administrator. If they don't know what you're talking about, just say the person that works on your computers. Does that make sense? And so you start out with a technical term, professional title, network administrator, and then go down to computer person, maybe if they don't understand that. Once you get that person on the phone, that's whenever you can either leave a voice message or give them this script of telling them your name, what their name is, that you've been asked. And this is a key part, that you've been asked to call 5 top businesses. You're kind of lifting them up then by telling them that you think they're a top business in the area. And you're to ask the makeup. You've been asked to find out the makeup of their network environment, and it's supposed to help me understand how networks are used by top businesses in a real-world setting. Could I ask you 7 questions about your network? Or I'll ad lib here and say, or email you the questions I have. You might do that as well. That way, and a lot of these guys and gals are in a hurry. There's a lot of stuff on their plate. A lot of times, if you put that in the last sentence there, the email, they'll appreciate that. And so anyway, if they do, let you ask the questions, if they say yes, thank you for their time. Say, I'll make it very quick. If they say no, you can even take a stab at it one more time. If you forgot to mention email before, if they say no, say, I know you're busy. Would you mind if I emailed you the questions? If they still say no, then you can say, thank you for their time and go to the next number. So that's why I want to get about 20 or 30 numbers, because out of the 20 or 30, maybe 3 or 4 will respond by either on the phone or email out of that many. That's the average over 13 years about how many students say responds. So does your network use Ethernet, token ring, or both? If they say I don't know, put I don't know. You're not teaching them anything. You're just asking a question. Now, if they ask you a question that you know, you can give them the answer. But if you don't know, say, I don't know. I'm just calling to ask these questions of you and your business. Number 2, what's the transmission speed of your network? Number 3, what type of backbone does your network rely on? And let me back up to number 1. When we went over the topologies of the network a couple times this semester, and topologies for the most part today are going to use Ethernet for the most part. Token ring you're not going to find much of. So the majority of those who do know their network are going to say Ethernet, just so you know. There are not going to be many token ring networks out there. On number 2, transmission speed. Top speeds for most businesses today are gigabit transmission speed, gigabit backbone. They could say 10/100, they could say 100, whatever range it is. That's some options that you could get. On number 3, the backbone. What does your network rely upon? For the most part, it's going to be Cat 5. You might have some fiber. They might say a mixture of both. And then number 4, what type of wiring does your network use? Is it the same type for the backbone of your workstations? So this is talking about going from workstations to server, switch to switch type of backbone. And they might have already answered that question, number 3. So you can kind of determine from number 3 what, if you need to even ask number 4. Does that make sense? So they might say in number 4, yeah, our computers have Ethernet, our Cat 5 cable, and our switches and servers and routers all have fiber. If they say that, you don't need to ask number 4. Okay. Number 5, do you use WAN technologies? Remember, that has to do with outside of the network, outside of the building type of technology. Most of them will know what you're talking about. What topologies do each one of them have? Most of the time you'll hear star, you might hear mesh, or you might hear I don't know. And just write down whatever they tell you. If the money was no object, what type of upgrades would you make to your network? It could be, okay, I want a gigabit switch, I want maybe 2 or 3 file servers added, I'd like to have voice over IP added to our new voice over IP system. Whatever it is, money is no object. There could be multiple things on this one because it's no object, it's not just one item. Now the next one's only one. If they only had enough money for one of those upgrades, what would it be? Could, again, be fiber, could be gigabit switch, whatever it is, put that down. And then upon completion, I will tally together your input. You can actually, it'd be easier probably just to open up this RTF file, this rich text file, and while you're, you can either write it down while you're on the phone, might be easier to do that, and then transfer it. The way I'm going to have you submit it is, say out of 20 calls you get 3 responses, submit 3 of these documents. Make sense? And that's about average. What students get is about 3 out of 20 calls. And if you've ever done any marketing or sales, that's pretty good. Some of you might be a little bit better talking to people. You might get more than that. But, you know, if you can get 2 or 3, you're good to go. You say, what if I call 20 people and only get 1? That's fine. I'm not going to give a minimum number. Because when I've done that over the years, students get real depressed because they've maybe tried 30 calls and they got 1 response. Okay, what's wrong with me? Some people are not that great at making cold calls. It's not an easy job. It's not easy to do. But it's a good experience for you to do, though, because it does get you a little bit prepared for your presentation in the semester, because you are kind of presenting yourself to somebody really you don't even know. Okay? So it is kind of intimidating. I'm not saying it isn't, especially if you've never done it before. But I could tell by some of you, how many's been in sales before of any type of retail or whatever? Okay, that first time you try to sell something, it is kind of, you know, getting over that hump that first time. So that first call that it goes well, even though they might not respond, but they're very congenial to you, you'll be fine after that. Okay? Now, can I tell you that everyone will be congenial to you? No. Okay? Couple examples. In the past, students have called, got a person on the wrong time of the day, or maybe this person's like this every day, told the student, so, think about going into networking? The student said, yes. He goes, wouldn't do it if I was you. And then proceeded to go on a 20-minute rant of all the stuff that he had been through his life on networking and how he'd been shafted multiple times. And it's not worth it, and it's a worthless job, and please, for the love of God, find another career. Okay? So you might get some of that too. But I have had students call, like one semester a student called Fat Wallet. The owner of Fat Wallet actually asked the student to come to Fat Wallet, ended up getting a job that week at Fat Wallet. Who'd have thought? Hired him as an intern networking person, and as far as I know, still works there today. So, you know, you never know. Far extreme from the person that, you know, puts everything down to the CEO of a company wanting to hire you. So, you know, you'll get a whole gamut of extremes. Now, don't expect either. Well, you might expect the griping, okay, but don't expect the CEO type of thing to happen. But it has, you know, students have gotten leads by calling. So, anyways, week 9 right now, you will have through week 11 to complete that. And I believe I actually have. I'll go there real quick. I believe I have in the Dropbox for week 11 somewhere. Let me look here to make sure. Bless you. I think I've got it in week 11. Yeah, there it is. Week 11 is the Dropbox for the Network Calls Lab. So don't worry about it. I mean, if you get them done before week 11, just go into week 11 and put the documents in there. Does that make sense? So any questions on that? Shoot away.
It seems like it seems a lot of these questions people aren't going to want to answer. I mean, if I was going to go hack into someone's network, these are the kind of questions that.
Well, you could, if you word it as an RBC student for educational purposes, I'm wanting to know this for my class to find out what top businesses in the area have, and more than likely, they've had this call already I've done this for 13 years now, the same assignment. So.
Well, it also seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done a little work in businesses around here, and it seems like most people don't have an on-site administrator.
And they might not. That's why you want to get 20 or 30 numbers. You know what I'm saying? Out of those 20, 30 numbers, like I said earlier, you might get 2 or 3 good calls. That makes sense? Because I know for sure, like Pepsi, the last semester when the students called Pepsi, they transferred in Wisconsin. Now the guy there helped them. They emailed him and he responded, but he was from Wisconsin, so you know that could happen too. So yeah, for the most part, most network admins, when you call, if you get them at the right time of the day and they've got time, will at least say, yeah, send me the email, that's fine. And if it comes from a Rock Valley College email, that's generally why they have you send the email, just to make sure you are from Rock Valley College. Does that make sense? So some of them will do that if they feel it fishy or whatever, or your voice is crackling because you're nervous. Can you please send me your email? Yeah, and I have had students in the past too ask me, do I have to call all these companies or can I email? If you want to try just email, that's up to you. I'm not going to tell you can't do it. In fact, you might have better success doing that than calling 30 people. I don't know. It just depends. Yeah, it just depends, because these IT directors, network administrators get umpteen calls a day from marketers and people wanting to sell them stuff. Now, will your email get to them either? It's a good chance it doesn't get there, just like the phone call might not get there. But either way, 9 times out of 10 when you call these guys or gals, it's going to go to voicemail anyway. They're not going to be picking up unless it's a very small business. Does that make sense? Like a one-man shop type stuff. Generally, that's the ones I actually ask students to kind of look for, if possible. Small insurance. If you're insurance, people you know in your circle of realm of influence, like your insurance guy, your doctor's office, your kid's orthopedic, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So you can probably get a list of a good 8 or 10 businesses that you know people that work there and say, so there's some connection between you and that business. That makes sense? So you might be able to get 8 or 10 that way in some connection you have, and then maybe get the other 10 just, out of the phone book or whatever. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, good question though. Any other questions on this assignment, on the take home? 2 weeks to work on it. You could probably, knock it out if you just give yourself 2 or 3 hours to knock it out. Whether you do maybe phone call, email, or a combination of both. Probably knock it out in a couple hours easy. But don't get discouraged with it. Just if you don't get any responses after doing 10, that's why I tell you to get 20 or 30 numbers. And hopefully at the end of the 30, you get at least 1 or 2 responses. So, and you generally will. But if you do have any questions at all, let me know. But, small hospital offices or doctor's offices are always good. They generally have some IT person either in the office or around somewhere in Rockford. They're generally pretty helpful. So like OSF, St. Anthony's, Swedes, Rockford Memorial, and then all the ancillary clinics are really good. Like the smaller clinics are really good to go to.
Rockford Health system?
Yeah.
Any Rockford Health system that was on the Rockford
Yeah.
Memorial.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. For the most part, the students have had pretty good success on getting responses back from all the hospitals, for the most part. Because it might not be the manager in charge of response, it's probably a tech person. But they're not too far away from where you guys are at. They've been where you're at a year or 2 ago. And so they're more glad to help you, for the most part. And so, I've even had students had them come on site to show them, like, hey, we got this new thing we're installing. You want to come and see it? Yeah. So, there's no telling what type of response you will get from people. I always just tell students it's kind of a, just a disclaimer for you and for me as I'm telling you how to do it. Just be congenial. If they are rude, which some of them will be, thank them for their time and quietly hang up. Now with cell phones, you can only quietly hang up anyway. When you have the phones, you can really slam it, but you can only click. You can no real big like that. But try your best to bite your tongue and thank them for their time and hang up. Now they might still be talking sometimes. I'm not telling you you'll be able to get them to stop. That might be the case, but don't worry about that. I'll give you permission to cut it short, but be nice as you do it. Do I?
Can we use your name?
You can use my name, definitely. Yes, you may. Yes, you can do that.
Email and home address?
Yeah, no home address. But, email, you can do that. All right. So that's, you got a couple weeks on that. Any more questions on that? Okay, great. Now let's go to, we are going to be doing a lab on Ultra VNC, but I wanted to look at some of the benefits of remote control software first and talk about kind of your experiences with it personally. And then we'll take a little break and do our lab. So there's a lot of benefits to remote controlling PCs, both from a administrative perspective and then also a help desk perspective. A help desk perspective, if you have like a VNC client on all your clients at work, it's easy to remote in and to help desk someone and to help them get whatever maybe training they need or printer installed or whatever it is that they need done now done. Because people really don't care how you do it, just that it gets done. And so this helps you do be in multiple places in a short amount of time. So instead of having to walk to every client, you could possibly remote in, if you're able to, if the connectivity's there, to do whatever it is you need to do. And so that helps a lot, especially if you have a large organization you're working with that might have, when I say large, I say over 70 computers, 75 computers that you're working with. It's nice, and multiple floors or multiple buildings. It's nice to have this type of thing to help you. Now, from what you did last week, where you remoted into each other's computer, that's beneficial, for instance, because the lab we're going to do tonight is actually just for internal purposes only. The one with TeamViewer, you could actually access outside of the organization and remote into that client like you guys did. But there's kind of some security things we gotta discuss about remote control apps. Like TeamViewer is a great app. You gotta be real leery though using TeamViewer when it comes to internal internet type of devices, because they can be accessed outside of the building. You might not want that exposure, meaning you don't want people remoting in with a piece of software that you have no control over what they're doing, and so, or what they're bringing in to the system. And so a lot of times I recommend to students, you can use apps like TeamViewer to remote in as an admin to a server or servers in your location, okay, or logmein.com, anything like that. That works great because you only have a handful there, generally. I'd say under 20 for the most part. Generally, for most of your organizations of businesses that have 100, 150 users, you're going to have about 10 to 15 servers to worry about. And really, active servers that you have to constantly come into, maybe only 4 or 5. The other ones you don't go in on a daily basis anyway. Okay? And so having that remote connectivity is great to have at home, on the road, or in another location where you can remote into it easily to do updates or configurations. That's real beneficial. Does that make sense? And so you want to make sure to have the server type. That's fine to have admins doing that, using that type of TeamViewer, logmein.com type software. But internal internet, I recommend only using VNC, which is, you cannot access VNC remotely outside the building because it's a local IP address that you're using to make it run, or that it runs upon. And so it's just easier to, on the server end, to update and fix from anywhere, perform health checks, expedite issues quicker if you have the connection there. And so you can connect to these from a mobile device, from a tablet device, laptop, phone. A lot of your phones have clients for these softwares that lets you connect to them. And most of them are fairly reasonable or free to use. The other one is help desk. Like Spiceworks has a built-in help desk we looked at last week. There's also some free, if you just want to Google the term free VNC help desk, there's a lot of out-of-the-package designed help desk packages out there for you that you can use, that you basically can customize your own. If you end up using TeamViewer, it does have a built-in help desk as well that you can customize a form and then basically put that shortcut on everybody's desktop as an icon, and then they can ask for help that way and create a ticket and all that good stuff. And it works really well. And users then can get help on the road in a cubicle, because the way I do it, or have done it in the past and currently do it as far as remoting in. I'll remote into the server, okay, with a TeamViewer or LogMeIn type of service. And then from the server, once you're logged in, then you can access VNC Viewer to access all the VNC clients within your organization. Does that make sense? So I'm logging into the server as the entry point to your organization, and then from that server, I'm accessing the clients. Okay, I'm not accessing the clients directly then from my laptop, iPad, phone, whatever. I'm doing it from the server all the time. Because the server is going to keep a log, especially if you use logme.com, it keeps a log of all accessing of that service. It records the service, meaning every mouse movement and action that's been used with that logme.com service is recorded. And the way I have it set up is at the end of every session, that AVI file, that video file, is actually emailed to me, and I can see immediately who's done what at what time and why. There's no question. I can see by what they've done, what they're. I might not sit there and watch them the whole thing, just a few minutes, and shut it down. And depending on who it is, you don't even have to watch them because you know what they're doing. But there might be people you're kind of keeping track of, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing or whatever. Because you'll have multiple admins be able to use that service. Users, this has been used a lot now, and I've done this recently. Works pretty good. Users can get training in real time. Say you have a new piece of software, which a lot of businesses get installed. Everybody goes through the training, but half of them don't remember it after they walk out. Because number one, they don't pay attention. Number two, they don't care. And number three, they don't pay attention. Okay. And number four, they don't care. All right. And so they get back to their desk, right, and start working, and they're like, okay, what do I do? How do I even open up the application? If they don't know how to open up the application, they really don't care. Okay? And then it's up to you to show them how to do it, even though you don't want to do it. It's up to you to show them how to do it, and then go back and talk about them all day behind their back in the break room. No, yeah, you'll do that. And so, anyway, you can use VNC basically to train them in real time on their level, and a lot of times people will have to be trained multiple times for whatever application or service or whatever that they're using. And I've seen this where, say they use something for a while and then they don't use it maybe for a month or two, again, retraining again. And this is where this comes into play and really helps a lot. And so VNC comes into play there and really helps tremendously, allow you to do it. Also, you can install updates and installations of softwares easier through VNC. And because if you think about it, as an admin, you generally don't ever have enough tech people in an organization to do installs. And so this helps to have a VNC viewer. You could literally have 20 viewers running, all doing separate things or the same thing. Say you're having to do the same thing on all the 20 computers, versus walking to each of those 20 computers separately. So it might take an hour to do it through VNC. It might take 6, 7, 8 hours doing it physically walking to those computers. Does that make sense? So you are going to save time and the company money by doing it. And so it's a win-win. Personal, some of you already do this. I know some of you don't do this maybe before this class, but I know some of you are because you've told me you're starting to use it. So like, the logme.com or TeamViewer, either one, you can now access from home or access home PC or Mac from anywhere. Forget files, needing to access a program. You don't need to have a program on all the computers you go to. If you have a remote control on a computer that you use that app for all the time, you can just log into it and do whatever you need to do and get out. Email that file to yourself, and you're done. Okay? And so gone is a day where you need to have every program or each program on every computer. You don't need that anymore. You need to have one device that can remote in to all your main workstations that you use on a daily basis or weekly basis, and that's it. You don't need to have the big bulky whatever carrying around all the time. Okay, you can literally have a huge server you're logging into, but you're doing all the work from a phone or a mobile device. And so that's the way that IT is going. And the next level, which you've heard about, and some of you are doing your presentation on, is cloud computing, to where you're basically going to take what we're doing here with VNC and TeamViewer and LogMeIn, and everything will actually be cloud related, meaning you'll connect to some type of cloud, like the Pogo plug type thing, to where you can actually, they have the Pogo plug I mentioned a few weeks back now has remote connectivity type of services that they're promoting. And so pretty much every business will be doing it. And a lot of times people, network admins, are leery of this because, rightly so, anytime you have any third party connecting to your network, there's security concerns, regardless how secure it is. And not only that, we've seen in other countries where networking companies like, these remote app or cloud app services go belly up. Well, what if you have all your data on that service? That pretty much ruins that. And so, like the beauty of the Pogo plug app is the service is that you can store all your services or your data locally, and then Pogo plug just use kind of like a peer-to-peer type of connection to whatever file or folder or whatever it is you're wanting to connect to. But you're still backing up all your stuff yourself or locally. And so that helps a lot. So you'll see kind of cloud computing go that way. You'll notice a lot of these cloud computing services like Dropbox are now starting to integrate client stuff now. Not so much outside in the cloud, you're buying space. They're letting you buy software to install locally and then use a cloud to do whatever, whether it be remote, file transfer, run applications. The next big thing you'll see in the next year will be having the ability to not only access files, movies, any type of data from a cloud, which you can do now anyway, and remote, but you'll be able to run programs remotely through a cloud service. And you'll be able to, like, say, I'll be here and be able to run a program at home, but not really have to go through the rigmarole of starting up LogMeIn or starting up Pogo plug. It'll basically just be a shortcut on a desktop or on my iPad. When I double click on it, it brings up a viewer that there's my program. And I use it, save whatever. It could be, I'm thinking out loud, it could be when you save it, it saves it to your local file store on whatever device you're on. Done. Because that's been a big complaint with iPads, with Droids. Droids are a little bit better than iPads as far as file access, local file access, but people still aren't real happy with the ability to do more. They want to be able to do more locally, and so what you'll see now is services to where whatever device you're working on, they're going to have the file storage temporarily on that device, but then also, more importantly, on a device on your local business server that's backed up all the time. Because like on Pogo plug, you can put a default file store, meaning anything you save in Pogo plug goes to this place, so it could go on a certain file server that is backed up on a nightly basis. That regardless if your laptop or your mobile device, your phone dies, that data is there. And to me, that's probably more security-wise, more of a viable way to go. And you'll see a lot of that coming up. But with the remote connectivity, it's not going to go away. It's just going to morph a little bit, if that makes sense. It's going to morph for the end user. For you guys, it's going to be pretty much static because you're going to have to be connecting to servers, and I don't see that changing anytime soon as far as how that works, because when you connect to a server, you're going to need to connect to the server to do everything as if you were sitting in front of it. And so that part of it's probably not going to change much in the near future. Now, I've used this a lot, and some of you might have done this too, and you probably will now that you've used TeamViewer and you've used LogMeIn. Family and friends are always, if you know anything about IT, or if you're in IT, if they know you're in IT, you got to fix their computer every time you go home and every time you visit or whatever. Well, you can install a program like TeamViewer to where you can, periodically update or do whatever it is to your mom or dad's, grandma, grandpa's, uncles, aunts' computers before going there, so you don't have to spend the whole time of your vacation updating everybody's computer. You can have it done before you get there, if that makes sense. And so that'll help a lot. In fact, with my mom, I actually, because as my mom, I could, she trusted me, so I put on her computer logmein.com, and I could go in any, once or twice a week and update whatever software she needed updated and make sure everything is running good and her antivirus is updated and all that good stuff. But there might be friends of yours you don't want to do that to. You can use a TeamViewer, which is a better scenario where you get that one-time key to where you can access their computer for whatever purpose you need to access it for. And you can do the training, the updates, installing print drivers, stuff that they ask you to do already. You can do that remotely. And, from doing the lab, it's not as, even a non-techie person, even with TeamViewer, if you give them the right steps and how to do it, it's pretty much a no-brainer getting it started. Especially if you don't install it and just do the run install like I had you guys do. It just runs and they give you the key and password and you're good to go. And so you're in. And so there is a document I want to look at here now on remote apps. I think I've got it here on this one. Let's see if I can access it here. This one. I think there's a PDF file. Should be able to get to that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, this is just some software. You've already seen these for the most part. Might be one or two in here you've not heard of yet. Logmein.com enables you to connect to home or office via WAN connection. Lets you access from anywhere, laptop, pocket PC, phone, etc. TeamViewer you're familiar with, you know what that does. What was your guys' experience with TeamViewer when you set it up? Pretty easy, pretty hard? What do you think? Pretty easy. Now I think I had you guys use the one-time key setup, right? Where you just accessed it once, correct? Using the run install. Okay. Yeah, that one works really well. The other one is Crossloop. Crossloop is actually a service that's a little different. I'll show it to you. It's this is if you want to go into remote PC tech business as a contractor. They'll let you set up a free account, and you can then, people in the world can come to the site, and they can, request service from users in here, and then once I'll just go ahead and click on search for an expert. As soon as you click on it, they have people that have been on here for quite a while, and it tells how many customers they've had, what their ratings were for those customers. And this guy's been on since 2007. His hourly rate's $60. He can help with PC problems, teach you programs, telephone support while on Crossloop. So gives the expertise, Windows XP, Virus, Vista, Windows 7, Internet Explorer. Anybody can start with this service, and they'll do all the, you can start out doing it to where you just do it for free, kind of to help your friends and family, or you can actually set up a business account, and what they do is they take like 2% of your sales, and they do all the processing of the money transaction and dump it right into your bank or send a check to you, however you want to do it. And it's been around for a long time. And I actually did it for a summer or two a few years back, and they've done a lot of changes since then. It made it really nice. And so I always show students this, and it's I think I might still have my old account here. I'll see if I can log in and show you. This is pretty cool. I haven't been on in a while. Remember my password. There we go. There we go. There's mine right there. And anyway, you set up your profile page. You can set up a service and rates page. And like this one, I set up like a free estimate, hourly rate, PC health checkup, software installation, complete optimization. And then it gives feedback of people that you've helped. And that's it. They've changed a lot of stuff on there. It was kind of clunky when it first came on payment. It was like through PayPal or something, I think initially, years ago. That was like 5 years ago. Now it's really slick, integrated, and all credit cards are accepted. But what I like about it, the whole service is it's real secure. It's got a remote app in it to where when they find you and they connect, there's just a button they click on, and immediately it starts that remote session once it installs it, like a Java client on their end, and you're in helping them.
Can you link directly to your page?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you put it on business card, website, whatever, and then go right to the page. Yeah, so you can have your own page. In fact, that's mine's crossloop.com/asktheprof. That was the URL. Done. And so pretty cool. It does have, like I said, setup is totally free. Let me see here on this, on the register part, what they've changed on that, because it's been a while. Yeah, register is free. Want to become a crossloop expert? That's if you want to help people. This is where you set it up. And expert profile, you can set up over here on the right. It gives you an invitation to try Pro for 7 days, but you don't have to actually use the Pro. You can just use a limited version for as long as you want to, and it gives you like a 7-day Pro. The Pro, I think, has unlimited remote access to customers without access codes. That means static connection, so you could actually set this up for, say, a business could hire you, and you could set this software up to be constantly on all the time on those businesses' computers. You could do that, or on their servers, or whatever the case may be. Provide remote support from your own website. They have plugins on the Pro version, I believe, where you can put like widgets on your website that when people click on it, it automatically launches service immediately. They don't have to come here at all to do that. Unlimited file sharing and branding. You can pretty much brand your app the way you want it to look. And there's a little app you download as an expert onto your machine, whether Mac or PC. It runs constantly. And if somebody asks, if you're online, it just does. You can set whatever alert you want to alert you, but you basically just start helping them, and works pretty good. And so I definitely recommend it. Crossloop.com. Most students, when I mention this, have never heard of it before. You guys ever heard of it before? And so, yeah, definitely something to maybe try out. So that's Crossloop. And let's go back to the other one. And then tonight we're going to do Ultra VNC, which is a segue to our lab. So Ultra VNC is very easy to use. It's free. VNC is an open source application. Open source means it's a conglomerate of programmers that programmed this over the years, and it's gotten to the place it is now. Ultra VNC has built-in chat function, file transfer, and multiple other types of functions. And you guys are going to use those tonight when you do the lab. You'll use chat, file transfer, find out information like IP address, computer name, stuff like that. And so it's a pretty robust application, and it's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, all three. And so just like the TeamViewer, except it's for local internet type of environments, and it works really well. It's really very secure. All right, so let's do this real quick. This is not going to take that long, but you will need to work with a partner. So we'll just go ahead and jump right into it if you don't mind. So go ahead and find a partner real quick. 2 people. So look at somebody and go, oh yeah, we got 2, or we might do 3 if we have to. But let's see here. You guys can be okay. Okay, we might have to do a third person there on the back row. If you don't mind, you guys 3 work together? Okay, cool. All right, so here's the deal. Let's fire up week 9, and I'll get you started here. Going to week 9 and in the lab. Okay, yeah, week 9. Let me see. Okay, that computer already has it installed, so don't work on it. Okay, it's in the week 9 lab folder. Gosh. No. There we go. Okay, so I put a link here, number 1. This link where it says both users install newest version of Ultra VNC, that's an executable link. It's an executable file. So when you click on that link, it's going to prompt you to download and install it. Okay, go through the install and install all the defaults as it asks you to install. You don't need to change anything, but you will get to a screen that asks you to set the password. And I want everybody to set their password to the difficult 123, just so everybody remembers it. All right. And then also, since these computers don't use passwords to log in, you will get a prompt after you apply the password and hit OK. You'll type in 123. You'll see the screen where it does that. You'll hit apply. It'll give you a prompt, and there'll be a checkbox that says Protect PC. You want to make sure and uncheck that. Protect PC, because you don't have a password on yours. You've got to uncheck that. So I'll kind of walk around and help you do that. But let's look at what you're going to do, and then I'm going to let you guys start at it. Each person is going to take turns being an admin, controlling an employee computer. You're going to do the following. You're going to VNC into